Launching on National Yorkshire Pudding Day, Daft Pudding has brought an all-new kind of the traditional Sunday dinner to the Shambles.
So I've spent the best part of a year and a half trolling through the north of England looking for the very best producers of meats, of cheeses, of chocolate, of all these weird and wonderful things, to basically use my food as a platform to show what they're doing, you know. So my food's only really a stage for the great produce that's out there, and also the recipes. My recipes are a little bit weird and wonderful, daft, as in the name. And they're totally unique, so no one's doing stuff like that, I know that for a fact. Well, the joy of being here in the middle of Shambles Market is you're open to everyone, you know. We had some people over from Asia who were tourists who'd never had a Yorkshire pudding before and loved it. You know, I'm sure we'll get a lot more tourists come summer, but then that's the lovely thing about being here, is we're open to locals, to tourists, to students. Just couldn't find anything that was really innovative and exciting and still British, you know. So for me, coming from the north, I was like, well, the Yorkshire pudding's just sat begging for it. So it's taken a while to go from there to here. Yorkshire pudding seems to be having a bit of a trend at the moment, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Hopefully we'll be at the front of it.
Open on the 4th of February, Jason has concocted a very unique recipe to the posh puds. Tell us a little bit more about your cooking method then, because it smells amazing from where I'm stood, but it doesn't look like your traditional pork.
No, this is pork butt, which is kind of an American cut, but it's from Tamworth pigs that were raised up on the Dales by a man called Amos, and I visited him and the pigs myself. I slow cook it in a Mexican spicy paste, and then we finish it off with a mole, which is a kind of a smoky tobacco-y sauce. So the idea of this dish is it's all about, imagine if it come from the mines. It's called the pits. So we've got a Yorkshire pudding that is infused with charcoal.
So actually it's got a very dark colour to it, hasn't it?
It is a black pudding, but it is not black pudding.
Okay.
And then we've got some black beans, which we put in here, which have been cooked with a little bit of pork fat and some spices. So instead of a seam of coal, we put a seam of cheese.
And that doesn't look like cheese, it actually looks like black pudding from where I'm standing.
It is.
Believe it or not, it is cheese.
It's a black cheddar with charcoal taken from a mine in Yorkshire.
Great.
And what we do is...
So just melting the cheese now?
We've got a melted seam of cheese going on in there.
Great.
And then we finish it off with some of this slow cooked spicy pork.
So this is definitely a unique style of a Yorkshire pudding, because it's a different colour. We've got different ingredients in there, haven't we? It's a big slab of chocolate, isn't it?
It's he's one of only 3 people in the UK who takes the beans in, bean to bar chocolate it's called. He gets the beans from abroad and processes the whole thing. And because of the Mexican flavours we've got going on here, it works really well. So we take our...
This is great. So how well does chocolate actually mix in then with the savoury taste? Because does it just add that sweet touch to it?
Well, very strong chocolate like this is actually a little bitter as well. So that sweet and bitterness matches with the smokiness coming out. So it's very popular in Mexican food. You have that spiciness, smokiness and sweetness together.
As I say, not just your traditional Yorkshire pudding, we've got a few little flowers on there and some gratings of dark chocolate. So if you excuse me, I'm just going to bob over there and take a bite. With the arrival of the delicious Daft Puds to York's iconic market, the street food hopes to prove popular among tourists and residents in the city for time to come. Rebecca Quarmby, That's TV.